Conceptually, Charmander is supposed to be based on the salamander fire spirits of legend. In Paracelsus' theory of the 4 elemental spirits, the salamander is the spirit that governs the element of fire. Capable of surviving within the most extreme heat or flames, the mythical salamander is said to live its entire life within fire, and its skin, when shed, never burns. While depictions of the salamander got a little bit funky in the medieval era, the creature is typically visualized with a lizard-like appearance. Basically, Charmander is an obvious reference to that mythical fire spirit at the conceptual level. However, if you know a little bit about early 1990s Japanese pop culture, then you might begin to wonder if the character design was inspired by something else altogether. Satoshi Tajiri first pitched the concept for the Pokémon video games to Nintendo in 1990, but it would take a full 6 years for the first generation games to be completed and released in Japan. During that lengthy development cycle, a small team of creators headed by the man Ken Sugimori created the designs for all 151 Pokemon that would eventually make it into Pocket Monsters Red and Green. One of the artists on the team was Atsuko Nishida, who created the designs for Pikachu and the 3 starter Pokemon among various others. Needless to say, each of her designs would go on to become truly iconic. But as you may know, the Pokemon franchise is packed with references to pop culture both within Japan and abroad. And smack dab in the middle of the original game's development cycle, another Japanese story about a girl and her little cuddly monster friend would become a short-lived cultural sensation. Dinosaur Story was originally a novel written by the beloved Japanese writer, zoologist, and pro mahjong player Masanori Hata in 1987. The story follows a young girl named Chie whose father happens to be a paleontologist, and one day while engaged in a dig in Hokkaido, Chie and her father stumble upon a clutch of tyrannosaur eggs. To their astonishment, one of these eggs hatches, revealing a tiny dinosaur that Chie affectionately names Rex. Similar to E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the plot of Dinosaur Story revolves around Chie protecting her new friend Rex from researchers who want to steal him away for experimentation. In 1993, the story would be adapted into a live-action film and would begin serialization as a manga in the shoujo magazine Kadokawa Shoten Asuka the same year. The illustrators responsible for the manga were none other than Clamp, the renowned group of female manga artists behind such classics as Magic Knight Rayearth and Cardcaptor Sakura. The style in which Clamp brought the story's co-protagonist Rex to life was very distinct from the style used in the live-action adaptation, and you might find that it looks strangely familiar, because aside from the lack of a tail flame, it looks almost exactly like the Charmander character who would appear in the Pokemon video games 3 years later. The orange color, the lighter shading on the tummy, the tail, the arms, the legs, the body proportions, it is hard not to see the resemblance. And if we added just one small touch and left Rex to hang out in a ball in Professor Oak's lab, I don't think anyone would be the wiser. Given that Rex was somewhat of a Japanese pop culture sensation in the midst of Pokemon's development and the obvious similarities between the character designs of Rex and Charmander, one has to wonder, was this yet another instance of Pokemon paying homage to pop culture, or was it simply a coincidence due to the distorted illustration style typically used in content for kids? I'm sure we will never get an official answer, but even so, the 2 lizards could have easily been separated at birth, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Rex really did influence the design of Game Freak's iconic Firestarter.